Welcome to Stab the Dragon Productions for episode number 218 and whiskey review number 66. This is a special holiday edition with a very special military whiskey on review, Devil's Brigade Whiskey. Now you might ask, is this a holiday edition? What holiday? Last Saturday, June 14th, was National Bourbon Day and the United States Army's birthday, and it was followed up by Father's Day, and it was also Flag Day on the 14th. Today is the 16th of June. I had family business out of town to take care of, so we're doing the review just a couple of days late, but that's okay. Just the facts. This whiskey is named for the 1st Special Service Force, a World War II brigade of American and Canadian commandos. This whiskey is a blend of 60% American bourbon and 40% Canadian whiskey, which are the same proportions that the force had in World War II. Coming out of Willie's Distillery in Ennis, Montana, founded in 2010 by Willie and Robin Blazer, this blended whiskey weighs in at 42% ABV or 84 proof. And it comes in a 750 milliliter bottle for $60, and then if you order it online, there's another $20, so about $80. It can only be purchased at the distillery or online, or if you're in Montana and surrounding area, I think you'll find it in liquor stores as well. The tasting notes. This is a very pleasant, rich tasting whiskey. I get some caramel, corn sweetness, a touch of wood, leather, and tobacco, dark fruits like maybe plums, or purple grapes, perhaps a touch of maple syrup. That's right. This is not thin. It's a medium body. It's got some nice mouth tingles, but nothing strong. It's not going to get up in the sinuses, and it's not going to give you a Montana hug in the chest. It burns and tingles in a very pleasant way in the mouth. The finish is medium to short, but the tingles last a bit longer, and some of the wood taste also lingers as well. My score for this whiskey was an 85. My letter grade for drinkability, an A-. My recommendation: if you are in Montana, or the area where this whiskey is sold, find it, buy it, drink it. Now the distillery is off of I-90 between Butte and Bozeman, south on Highway 287 in the small town of Ennis. If you can get there, absolutely go. Support this veteran-owned and operated distillery. Now, who should get this whiskey? If you're a military vet or active duty, particularly of the Airborne Ranger or Special Forces community, I highly recommend it. If you love World War II history and you're a patriot who loves good whiskey, you need this whiskey. If you're a collector of military whiskeys like I am, this is a must-have for your collection. Details. A few weeks ago, we observed Memorial Day in May, which is a solemn remembrance for the military members who've lost their lives in the service of their country. So one of my projects was I read the book, The Devil's Brigade, by the authors named Alderman and Walton. And Walton served with the brigade in World War II briefly. And so I read that book, which I've loaned out. I still have this one to go. And this is an oral history, not quite the same thing, but still it's about the same unit, right? And you can see the patch there. But we watched, on Memorial Day weekend, we watched the movie. Now the book came out in 66, I think, and then the movie came out in 68, so just one after the other. And this movie, starring William Holden and Cliff Robertson, Vince Edwards, was really a pretty good movie that told the story fairly well, about as well as a movie could do. And so originally I had scheduled to do this review around Memorial Day, but then we just had to delay it. And so I thought, the anniversary of the Army's birthday, why not? So here we are. So let's get into the details of this whiskey. This is a very delightful whiskey. History. The first Special Services Force was formed in 1942 and trained at Fort William Henry Harrison in Helena, Montana. And so that's why this whiskey was developed by Willie's Distillery in Ennis, Montana. It was formed under the command of Lieutenant Colonel Robert T. Frederick as a special project to send commandos into Norway to fight the Germans and destroy some key Norwegian resources that the Nazis were going to be using. The Norway part of the plan eventually fell apart, and the force began looking for other missions. They were sent to Kiska, Alaska to fight the Japanese, but when they landed, they discovered the Japanese had evacuated the island just a day or two before. So they landed unopposed, and so after that, it was a good operation, good training, but the mission part didn't follow through. So then they were a force without a mission, right? Because they were trained for mountains and in Arctic type conditions, learned how to ski and everything Arctic that you can imagine to fight. So then the commander, Frederick, went and spoke with General Mark Clark, who used the force to break, who said, I could use the force in Italy. And so they shipped off to Italy, and they used the force to break through some of the mountain fortresses that Germans had that were stalling the Allied advance up in Italy. The force accomplished these missions in heroic style. I mean, the book was just amazing. The movie does it some justice, but still the book gives the full story. And the force accomplished these missions. Then they went to the Anzio beachhead to help that stalled advance. And it was at Anzio that the force acquired their nickname from the Germans, the Black Devils, because they used small unit operations at night, and they would blacken their faces. They would go beyond German lines. They would capture prisoners and assassinate sentries and take positions and then fall back before daylight. And the Germans would wake up in the middle of the night or in the early morning, and a lot of their guys had their throats cut. The Black Devils were then the name that a German officer recorded in his diary describing this unit. And when that was found out, that kind of became an unofficial nickname. But the guys in the unit actually always called it the Force. So they used the V-42 daggers. And that is pictured here on the bottle, right there on the neck. And that's why this is 42 proof, or 42 ABV, 84 proof. It's on both sides. So the V-42 Commando dagger is what they were issued, specially developed for them. The force accomplished all these missions, and then they participated in the invasion of France on the southern side, the Mediterranean side of France that followed the Normandy landings. And the force was eventually disbanded, in late 44, December 5th of 1944, because they'd been so depleted of their original soldiers. They had taken so many casualties. The commander, Frederick, received 7 Purple Hearts. I mean, he was constantly leading patrols himself, going behind enemy lines at night. Here's the brigade commander doing this. And he fully participated in all the operations from planning to execution. And so he was wounded multiple times. The Canadian soldiers, when they disbanded the unit, went on to fill Canadian Airborne Unit. And then many of the old force members went on to the Army Rangers or airborne units as well. And the force is considered to be the direct ancestor of the United States Army Special Forces, the Green Berets. And in Canada, the Canadian Special Operations Regiment. So that's why this unit was considered to be so important for even down to our day. Now, the history behind Willie's Distillery and the Devil's Brigade whiskey. It was established, the distillery was established in 2010 with the goal being to create a brand and products that embody the independent spirit and authenticity of the American West while supporting the local economy. They use local Montana ingredients and have a regional flavor. Willie Blazer, the owner-operator, is a United States Army veteran of the Rangers and Special Forces, Green Beret medic, and he was a smoke jumper with the United States Forest Service and hotshot wildland firefighter. So this guy is the real deal. They mill, mash, ferment, distill, age, bottle, everything on site. They use 10-gallon barrels to 53-gallon barrels. And the whiskey, when it came out, won 3 awards at the 2021 SIP Awards. It won gold medal for taste, gold medal for bottle design, and it really is cool. I mean, you can see the picture in the back there of a black devil. I don't know if you can make that out there. And it also won the Innovation Award because this is a highly innovative whiskey combining 60% Montana Bourbon with 40% Canadian whiskey. And that Canadian whiskey shines through here. I mean, it cuts down the harshness of bourbon, and you get those tobacco, leather, chocolate notes, that maple note that is common with Canadian whiskey. So 5 points out of 5 for history here. And again, this is not just a military-themed whiskey. This is a veteran-created and owned, operated military whiskey. Bottle, label, and marketing. As again, I said, it won gold at the SIP Awards for bottle design. And it's just a very distinctive, it's got the clear glass, the black devil on there, the V42 dagger on the neck. The story is here on the back. And this bottle is called batch number 23, honoring Captain Pat O'Neill from the Force in World War II. This whiskey is, again, not sold here in stores in Fort Worth, as far as I can tell. Probably just available only in Montana, maybe surrounding states, and at the distillery. I got it online. So I found out through Instagram the algorithms work, because I have done enough searches for military-themed whiskeys that it sent me this one, and I immediately researched it and ordered it, and this is just way cool. There you go. And there are several YouTube videos about the distillery and this whiskey, so you can hunt this down on YouTube and find a lot. So 5 points out of 5 for bottle, label, and marketing. Appearance of this whiskey in the glass. It's not super dark. I'm going to say that's a 3. And in the bottle, looks to be just a little bit darker, but you have that black devil in the back that may be causing it to be a little bit darker. So I'm saying it's a 3. I think when I originally did this, I gave it a 4, so that's going to knock down my score by 1 point. Composition: as a blend of American bourbon and Canadian whiskey, there's no mash bill given. But again, it is 60% bourbon and 40% Canadian, and at 42% ABV or 84 proof. So it's not weak or lame. It's really got a nice feel to it, a nice little soft burn, so it's very smooth. And there's no age statement on here either. So it is just a little bit secretive, just like the 1st Special Services Force. The process is detailed on the bottle and the website, including local grains, barrel sizes, and the climate and elevation, I think, of Ennis is important. Terroir really adds to the whiskey, absolutely. So I'm giving this composition 12 out of 15. Nosing. It has a pleasant whiskey smell. Sweetness. Nothing offensive. There's no ethanol. You know, vague hints of wood and leather, perhaps. Maybe plums. So 7 out of 10 for the nose, because my nose just is inadequate for smelling whiskey. So 7 out of 10 is kind of my average score for whiskey. But the taste, this is a very pleasant, rich tasting whiskey. There's some caramel, some corn sweetness, but the touch of wood, leather, tobacco, dark fruits like maybe plums or purple grapes, and a hint of maple syrup. I get this with Canadian whiskeys all the time, and I don't know how much of it's psychological. It's Canada, their flag has a maple leaf, who knows. But I also know that Canadian whiskeys can have extra substances in them from the barrels under a certain percentage. And so I've always wondered, do they age their whiskeys in maple barrels? I don't know. So for taste, 22 out of 25. Mouthfeel, burn, and finish. Again, it's got a medium body. This isn't thin at 84 proof. A little bit of not nice mouth tingles letting you know that, hey, this is a whiskey, but there's nothing strong. There's nothing offensive here. It's very smooth. The burns and tingles are a nice mouth feel that lingers for a while. And so the finish is medium, but the tingles last a bit longer. I still have some wood and maybe leather, tobacco notes that linger for a while. So I'm going to give it 12 out of 15 for mouthfeel, burn, and finish. Now, neat or mixer. I prefer my whiskeys neat most of the time, but the website and YouTube give some cocktails to make with this whiskey, and one in particular looked and sounded fascinating. So let me put this on pause and go make this cocktail, and I'll be right back. All right, I'm back with the components of this cocktail, and we use unsweetened cranberry juice. It calls for 2 ounces. Here's my glass with some ice. And then we're going to do 1 ounce of the whiskey. One ounce of Canada Dry ginger ale. And then the second ounce of cranberry juice. This cocktail has the name the Brigade. Because the proportions are similar to the whiskey, similar to the Force, with the majority of it being American stuff and then a little bit of Canadian. So here we go, the Brigade, a cranberry ginger ale cocktail with the Devil's Brigade whiskey. And that is pretty good, I'll tell you. That is worth doing. So for neat or mixer, this is a solid 5 out of 5 points. Price, value, and availability. Again, this whiskey cost me about $80 because of the shipping, the $20 shipping or so. And that's expensive for what you get. But to me, I think it's absolutely worth it. because the value comes not just in the quality of the whiskey, which is very good, but the value comes in the story and the fact that it's veteran owned and created. So yeah, but availability is what hurts, because you have to either go there to Montana or order it online and pay that shipping fee. So for that reason, it gets knocked down to 8 out of 10 points for price, value, and availability. Bonus points. This is a highly drinkable whiskey, and its historical significance is huge. This is a great way to teach history to younger folks. The fact that it is a veteran-owned distillery, who was a Special Forces Green Beret and an Army Ranger and a firefighter, I mean, goodness, excellent. So 5 out of 5 bonus points here. Giving me a total score. Well, originally I'd set it 85, but the color, I think, really overrated the first time, so it's an 84. Letter grade drinkability, though, A-. My recommendation, if you are in Montana, this whiskey is sold in the retail stores there, and this distillery is off I-90 between Butte and Bozeman, south on Highway 287 in Ennis, Montana. If you can get there, go. And who should get this whiskey? A military vet or active duty, particularly of the Airborne Ranger Green Beret community. Highly recommend it. If you love World War II history and are a patriot who loves good whiskey, you ought to have this whiskey. If you're a collector of military whiskeys like I am, this is a must-have for your collection. And finally, I've also toyed with the idea of collecting at least one whiskey from each of the 50 states. So here you go. Montana is now in my cabinet right here. Well, that's it for Devil's Brigade whiskey, and I would say get the movie. Here you go. Get the movie, watch the movie. If you can find a copy of the book or this other book, I would add that to the collection. So this is StabtheDragon out here.